Dr. Asnat Zur and Dr. Sophie Savalkuls with WestEd, and Lisa Grant and Barbara Daniel with the Office of Fresno County Superintendent of Schools will talk about the collaborative effort to host a family math night at the Fresno-based Lighthouse for Children, and will provide resources to participants to allow them to put on a family math night of their own. Please welcome Asnat, Sophie, Lisa, and Barbara.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our presentation, Engaging Families in Early Math, a Family Math Night. I'm Asnat Zur from WestEd, and I'm going to have my co-presenters introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Sophie Savalkuls, also from WestEd.
Hi, I'm Lisa Grant from the Office of Fresno County Superintendent of Schools and the Early Math Project.
Hello, I'm Barbara Daniel, and I'm the site supervisor at the Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center, which is operated under the Office of Fresno County Superintendent of Schools.
Great, thank you. So in our presentation today, we'll discuss the importance of engaging families in children's early math learning. We'll specifically share about a family math night event that was organized by the Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center in Fresno and by the Early Math Project. This event was part of a larger initiative, the California Early Math Initiative, which has its mission to improve math and science outcomes for children 0 to 8 across the state of California. The California Early Math Initiative is a partnership between Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, the Ames Center for Math and Science Education, WestEd, and the California State Board of Education. What is our focus today? The focus of our presentation is really to, first of all, explain the importance of engaging families in early math by reviewing a little bit of the research that has looked at the importance of the important role of parents and families in children's early math learning. We'll also go over the family math night event more specifically and explain what does it take to organize this type of family engagement event, such as the family math night. And then finally, as part of the initiative, WestEd conducted an evaluation of the family math night. We'll share some data and what we have learned from this event. And we won't leave you without sharing some resources and tips that those of you who may be interested in organizing your own family night could find useful. To start us off, we want to talk a little bit about why it is so important to engage families in children's early math learning.
Okay, so there are a few reasons why it is so important to engage families in early math. And one of them is that parents are children's first and primary teachers, and they really lay the foundation for children's learning and development in all areas of life, including math. Additionally, families have many natural opportunities to engage children in math as part of their day-to-day lives. So you can think of counting during story time or measuring ingredients while you might be cooking or baking. And so families really are surrounded by opportunities to introduce math concepts and vocabulary in children's routines. These opportunities are particularly important considering the fact that countless studies have found that the quality of children's home math environment has a direct impact on how well children do in school later on. Yet, despite all of this, research suggests that many families shy away from engaging in math activities or math talk with their child. So our question was, why is this? So one important reason that many families might be shying away from engaging in math activities with their children is that parents tend to have negative feelings or maybe even anxiety related to math. This may be because they themselves had negative experiences learning math as a child, and thus they tend to avoid any math-related interactions with their own children. Additionally, when parents have these negative feelings about math, research suggests that they can inadvertently transfer these negative feelings to their children. Another reason why parents may not be engaging their children in early math is that they might value other skills such as language development over math development. And they may even believe that the school rather than the parent is really responsible for supporting children's early math. And lastly, parents need more support in understanding exactly how children are developing math skills and concepts. And they may lack an understanding of whether their own child has mastered certain math skills. So together, these beliefs can affect how often families engage in math activities with their child. So what are some of the ways that families can engage in early math? So math talk is a very important one. Math talk really refers to any type of math vocabulary or math concept that might be used in conversation. And families can use math talk at any time of the day during almost any activity. So this is something that you can do while you're reading with your child, but also just during daily conversation. So daily routines also provide meaningful opportunities for learning and applying math skills such as counting, adding, subtracting, and measuring. When baking, you can measure different types of ingredients. When having dinner, you can maybe count the number of pieces of cheese on your plate. Or even during bath time, you can compare the size of different rubber ducks. Now, outside of daily routines, families can support math learning through games and activities that children enjoy and that are common practices in their family and culture. So, for example, playing hopscotch, solving puzzles, or playing with blocks not only provide opportunities for parents and children to engage in math talk, but they also allow children to practice mathematical procedures such as counting or addition.
So Sophie just described the many ways and opportunities that exist in daily routines and activities to engage in math with children. And as educators, we may look for ways to raise families' awareness and engage them in supporting children's early math. One way programs can raise families' awareness is by providing opportunities for parents to participate with children in events such as a family math night. Barbara is going to talk to us about how educators can engage families in early math.
As we think about educators and their role in supporting families with early math, it's important to recognize that parents and families are essential stakeholders in improving the educational outcomes of their children. It is also important to remember that the experiences of children and doing math look much different than the instruction that was offered when most adults were in school, and many parents harbor anxiety about it. For this reason, families need guidance, inspiration, and motivation to support their young children with mathematically developmental experiences, and educators also educators can support families by modeling a positive attitude for children and parents, which includes refraining from comments with a negative math connotation when talking to parents about math, such as, I suck at math, I've never been good at math, providing families with tips and ideas, handouts through various forms of communication, such as email, conversations, handouts, to encourage math learning and ensure parents receive the information. Another way that teachers can support families with early math is by providing families with concrete examples of how parents can engage in early math activities and daily routines, which include singing math-based songs, sorting laundry, pointing out shapes during a walk, and sending home weekly math activities. Also, you can encourage families to introduce math talk when engaging in reading, storytelling, and singing using words such as big, small, long, short, round, and cylinder. And there are also other words that you can use during those activities. Another way is sending home ideas for math activities that children can do together with their families. The Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center created math packs using literature reviews discussed later in this presentation, which include all the materials families need for positive math experiences at home, including a copy of the literature review, a book with math-based content, materials needed to complete a math activity, and a parent survey for family feedback. We also send home a monthly activity calendar that includes math and science activities each week. With the support of educators, families are more likely to become proactive in supporting their children with early math. The Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center is the home of program services and training opportunities in support of young children and their families. First by Fresno County and community partners, including the Office of Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, offer families learning opportunities and environments where they feel safe, supported, and prioritized. As a demonstration site for the California Early Math Initiative, the Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center, operated by Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, has the opportunity to test and learn early math concepts to assist our youngest learners, teachers, and families with building confidence in their ability to be successful, exploring math. The Lighthouse for Children building also includes a community learning center for families. The Community Learning Center is a network of community partners working together to provide classes and workshops that encourage and foster healthy relationships and aims to increase early literacy, language, and school readiness. The Lighthouse also has conferencing rooms and office spaces available for community agencies and houses the first 5 Fresno County administrative offices. As we talk about Fresno County, some of you may be wondering where the Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center is located. The Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center is located in the heart of California in downtown Fresno County and represents a unique partnership between First by Fresno County and the Office of Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. The Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center provides services for children 6 weeks to 5 years old and offers a blended funding model that meets the needs of families from all socioeconomic backgrounds, including low, moderate, and high-income families. The Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center has 6 state-of-the-art classrooms ranging from infants through preschool, including a dual language class. The playground was designed with the intention of creating a park-like setting that is very natural and promotes the opportunity to maximize learning indoors and out. Additionally, the Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center also offers observation areas within the center for families to observe their children and lab students to receive on-site training opportunities and learn more about the program's approach to high-quality service.
Thanks, Barbara. Families may need guidance on how to engage children in these math activities. Family engagement programs organized by the school or care center can help encourage family support of math in the home. Reading to a child comes naturally to most parents. It's already something they typically do and are comfortable with. We use this as a bridge to math activities. In general, most parents are comfortable helping their kids with literacy. They're more comfortable helping kids with literacy than they are with mathematics. You often hear people say, "Oh, I'm just not a math person. I'm not good at it." But you rarely hear people say, "Oh, I'm not a reading person." People are not born being better at math than others. The Early Math Project firmly believes that everyone is a math person. Everyone can learn math. The members of the project review children's literature and look for the math in the story. We then create a fun math activity that is related to the story. We strive to make the activities low or no cost so they are accessible to the greatest number of people. Sometimes it's easy to find the math in a story, like in Quack and Count. Sometimes the math is a little more subtle, like in Goodnight Gorilla or Beep Beep Vroom Vroom. We use some of these activities during the family math night. All of our reviews and activities are available free on the Early Math Project website. So what does it take to organize a family math night? Well, first of all, it takes a team. A lot of people were involved in the planning and organizing. The staff at the Lighthouse put in many hours to make this happen. I would liken planning and organizing a family math night to planning a lesson. Our first and foremost consideration was the convenience and comfort of our family. What time would be most convenient for the greatest number of folks? In our case, it was pickup time after work. Because of the timing, it was right at the dinner hour. We provided a meal as well. You want to consider your audience. Who are they? Will they have older and younger siblings with them? How many people can you comfortably host at one time? What is your goal for having a family math night? What do you want families to take away from your time together? For us, our goal was to show families how to just tweak what they're already doing, reading to their children, tweak it to include questioning strategies that bring out their children's math thinking, to encourage their children to notice and wonder about the math in the stories. Math includes not only counting, but patterns and sequences, shapes and spatial vocabulary, predicting, and reasoning strategies. Our other goal was to show some of our book reviews and related activities and where parents can find more resources. The opening session was just for parents and caregivers. The children were playing and eating in the classroom. My colleague, Carolyn Pfister, and I provided information about why and how to read to children to bring out the math in the stories. We talked about and demonstrated those questioning strategies I mentioned earlier. Then we had the adults practice reading and pausing to ask questions with each other. This was really fun. People really got into it. Later in the activity time, we saw many parents using those strategies while reading books to their kids, including using character voices. We also talked about the importance of early math. Did you know that early math experiences are a greater predictor of success in school and in life? Greater than even literacy experiences. We talked about how parents and teachers' feelings about math are contagious. Their emotions about math rub off on their children. So we talked about adopting a growth mindset about learning mathematics. Everyone is capable of learning mathematics. We also talked about keeping math fun. There is some research to suggest that drills and timed tests are what cause math anxiety. So keep it fun. For example, playing a board game. We discovered just how many children had no experience with board games. Now think about all the math involved in a board game, particularly with adding dice and counting spaces, maybe some strategy. We had some mathy literature-related activities for the older siblings, but we found that most of the children enjoyed the main activities along with the younger kids.
Thank you, Lisa, for sharing about the opening session of our Family Math. During the Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center's Family Math Night, we set up 6 early math activity stations that targeted infants through early school age. These areas included ways to focus on number sense, geometry, classification, and patterning. We aspire to provide parents with rich opportunities to participate in early math activities with their children by means of the parent as the facilitator and the teachers on standby for support. As we begin planning our Family Math Night and determining which activities we should provide families, we decided to use the following books as the foundation for our activities. Each book includes math-related content and stems from the literature reviews that are available on the Early Math Project website that are located at earlymathca.org, which are now available in English and Spanish to support our dual language learners. Now I'd like to share a little more about each of the books that we used and their corresponding activities. One book that we used was Color Zoo, which was geared towards children ages 0 to 5 and introduced a range of shapes through abstractly formed animal heads. The activity was for the children to make animal faces using shapes, and the math connections included shape classification, geometry, transforming shapes, and counting. Baby Goes to Market was one of our other books and was geared for children ages 1 through 5, and it was about a mama and baby visiting the market near their home in southwest Nigeria. Each market seller they visited gives baby treats without mama noticing. Baby eats one of each and puts the rest back in the basket until mama's basket grows very heavy. The activity provided was for children. The activity provided for children was called Market Run, which included a board game for two people to collect the most food cards before the market closed. Math concepts included in that activity were counting, addition and subtraction, weight, and measurement. The birthday box was geared for children birth to 4 years old and was about discovering all the places to go and things to do when you're a toddler with an empty cardboard box. The activity provided was called It Fit, which included containers of different sizes, bowls, buckets, pictures, and a ball pit with balls for children to try and fit objects into the object. Math connections included comparison, spatial awareness, and positional work. Another activity that we had stemmed from the book called Sank the Boat, which was geared towards children 2 through 7 and was about how 5 friends decided to go for a row in the bay. One of them sinks the boat. Was it the cow, the donkey, the sheep, the pig, or the mouse? The activity was to build a boat that floats. So the children were given some animals. They were given clay, tinfoil, craft sticks, toothpicks, paper forks, and a sensory tub of water. The math connections included weight, volume, buoyancy, comparison, and predicting. And last but not least was doggies. Doggies was geared towards children birth to 5 and was about counting and barking doggies 1 through 10. The activity was called Doggy, Same and Different. The goal was for children to sort toy dogs based on color, size, material, and other attributes. As a result, children were provided with 10 to 12 small dogs and sorting containers. As you can see from the activities shared, we aspired to provide children that were with hands-on activities and materials that supported parents with successfully facilitating the activities throughout the Family Math Night event. Each math station included a few books for the parents to read to their children before engaging in the activity. The literature review sheet from the book displayed, which included key vocabulary from the book and extension questions for families to facilitate rich conversations with their children, and all the materials needed for parents to support their child with carrying out the activity. As we observed families engaging in the activities throughout the night, we initially observed our parents standing over the children. But with teacher support, parents were encouraged to sit at the tables with their children side by side, which helps parents make better connections with their child as they facilitated the activity. We also observed that parents gained more confidence with facilitating the activities after each activity they did with their child. The children were very excited as they moved through the activities. They visited most activities multiple times throughout the evening, and they were not ready for the night to end. I believe the incorporation of the math presentation that was previously discussed for parents prior to the opening of the activities, gave parents successful tools and tips to support their children with facilitating the math activity. Our family hopefully reduced parent anxiety in working with their children on early math activities and provided a can-do attitude for them to support their youngest learners with early math experience. Now I would like to share some results from our Family Math Night, which includes attendance and primary participants. 38 families attended, mostly mothers. But we had we also had a variety of other people that attended, including fathers, grandparents, and siblings that did not sign in. We also had children ages 3 to 4 years old that were our primary participants, though we also had infants, toddlers, and school-age children attend and participate with their families. And another finding was that half of our children were bilingual, which is important as we're thinking about our families and their individual and cultural needs. By providing some of our options for books in Spanish, it ensured that all of our families represented within our program were felt safe, comfortable, and well-equipped to participate. Now we will share a video to provide you with a visual of the Lighthouse for Children Child Development Center Family Night. I hope you enjoyed the video.
As a part of supporting our families, we hosted our Family Math Night event, and during that event, we had our guest speakers, Caroline and Lisa, come. We had a presentation for families surrounding early math so that parents were able to gain some information and knowledge about how to support their children, what early math looks like, and how to continue building on those experiences. And another part of that was then activities that were available for the children and the parents to engage in, with the parents leading the activities, and we had our teaching staff available to scaffold the parents as well as the children, so that the parents were comfortable and knew that if they got stuck or if they weren't quite getting something, then the teacher would be there to support them. It was not only an opportunity for the parent to build on their confidence and understanding and how to support their youngest children with early math, but it also let them know that someone was there and that it was okay if they didn't have all of the information. Our activities were geared for children from infants through third grade. So although our program primarily provides preschool services, we wanted to make sure that we really had early math opportunities available for some school-age children. A lot of our families have older siblings, and so we want to really make sure that even though we may be focusing on our younger children, that we're still supporting parents who may have older children.
It was very inspiring to see all of the family interactions that happened here. It was also very rewarding to see that families thought that they wanted to participate in more of these. Through the initiative, we have been pulling together resources for communities and schools and preschool centers so that they can do their own family math nights. What we're hoping that people will do with these activities is that they will use them as kind of a springboard within their own communities. It makes it much easier. It provides guidance. All of those suggestions that kind of takes the heavy lifting out of doing a family math night locally. The family math night activities are structured so that children have an opportunity to explore math that's related to art and movement and making things, engineering, science, all of these concepts, playing board games with their families. And just it's a good opportunity for families and kids to come in and see how they can use math in their daily lives and just see how fun math actually is.
As you watched the video, you probably had your own impression of how children and family members were engaged in the activities. But let's take a look at what the data tells us. As part of the Early Math Initiative, Wested, as the independent evaluator, was there to evaluate the event and learn from the data. So our evaluation really was consistent of three different sources. First is the parent survey. Parents who attended the family math night were sent a survey asking them for their general impression of the event and also what they felt they took away from the opening session as well as from the different activity stations. We also were there to conduct our own observations. We took a look at the level of parent engagement and child engagement, and also at the areas of math that were introduced to parents and children throughout the different activity stations. And then lastly, our evaluation also included observations and participation in discussions, planning meetings before the event, and also reflective discussions after the event with the organizers. So when we asked the parents about their general impression of the family math night, 94% of the vast majority of parents agreed that the family math night provided them with ideas for math activities to do at home. It also taught them how to talk about math during everyday activities. And if if you remember, Lisa described how it was part of the training that was provided during the opening session and also as part of the activities. And also it built their confidence in supporting their child's math learning. So they felt more confident in introducing math language or in engaging children with math activities at home. So overall, parents' impression of the family math night was very positive. Parents felt like they learned a lot from the event, and they also expressed how much they enjoyed spending this time with their children and learning what they are interested in. Additionally, when asked about their feedback on the activity stations, so after asking them about their general impression, we asked more specifically about different activity stations. Parents overall were very pleased. In fact, 80% of the parents or more agreed that their children were engaged during the activities, and you may have seen it yourself when watching the video. The instructions for the activities were very clear, and there was a range of activities for children of different age levels. The one change parents identified in the survey had to do with having slightly more space to engage the activities. So some logistical recommendations that came through the survey results.
So in addition to collecting survey data, we also got an observer's point of view. And from the observer's point of view, we noticed that children and parents were very highly engaged in all the activities and also in the opening session. However, what we did notice is that the level of the engagement from the parents tended to vary as a function of the actual activities that they participated in. So what we noticed was that the stations where teachers were leading the activity, we saw less active involvement from the parents. So if you take the example of the picture on the top, in this board game activity, the teacher was there to help the children move the pieces on the board and remind the children what was happening next in the game. But as you can see from the picture, parents are standing behind the children and they are watching their children play, but they themselves are not as involved in the activity. On the other hand, at other stations, such as the one in the picture on the bottom, teachers took on less of a leadership role. And so the teachers were there to help with the logistics of the activities, such as finding materials or cleaning something up. But they provided encouragement and support to families, but did not take that sort of active role. And as you can see from this picture, in these cases, parents seem to be taking the more active role in engaging with their children in the activity. The parents are standing next to their children, and they have come down to their level to talk with them and guide them through the activity. So from the perspective of both the organizers and evaluators of the event, there are a few important lessons that were learned from this family math night. So first of all, as we just alluded to, with respect to the differences in the level of engagement from parents, it may be helpful to think about how you define the role of the teachers and the parents in events like these. So if your goal is for parents to be more observant, then teachers should plan to fully engage with the children and model appropriate strategies. If, on the other hand, your goal is for parents to actively participate with their children, teachers may want to provide some encouragement or specific guidance to parents about how to engage in the activities, but they may want to let the parent take on the more active role. And additionally, in terms of logistics, it is important to provide plenty of space for the activities and also perhaps to provide a loudspeaker for things like an opening session, especially if you're expecting a lot of families, to ensure that everyone can fully take part in the event. Furthermore, if you're working with a diverse age group, it may be helpful to set up breakout groups by age so that parents know what activities are suitable for their child and also so children can get the most out of the activities within their own age group. And lastly, if you are considering offering a meal or snack during the event, it may be useful to keep in mind that you want to provide a child-friendly snack or meal options. And Barbara will also like to add some of the lessons that she learned in organizing this event.
Yes, one of the primary lessons that we learned was really defining the role of the educator in relation to the parents during the activity. And initially, our teachers were sitting at the tables and supporting the children, and through prompting and guidance later provided, as we noticed that, we were able to ensure that parents became the facilitators. From some of the comments I received from parents, they were very happy to have the opportunity to observe the teachers engaging with their children in the activities first, and then moving in as an active facilitator.
So although this math event had a very high turnout from the families, some families may find it difficult to participate in early math events such as these, and there are several reasons for this. One reason maybe is that families may be experiencing conflicting work schedules. They may lack childcare or may not have transportation to the event. As such, to ensure that as many families as possible can attend this type of event, you may want to consider the following simple but yet effective ways to lower barriers and help families participate in your event. So some simple ways you can do this is by giving families a choice of times for the workshops, including options during the week and weekend so that families do not have to take time off work to attend. As we mentioned before, consider offering a meal with some snacks during the event because families' busy schedules may prevent them from giving their children a meal before or after the event. Additionally, it may be useful to organize transportation to and from the event, especially if public transportation is not readily available in your community. Lastly, we found that translating all materials in the family's home language is very useful, and this can include things like math kits, activity booklets, or instruction sheets so that all families can take part in the event. For more ideas on how to engage families in early math events, you can read our family engagement research brief that is located on the Early Math Project website.
Thanks, Sophie. Here are some of those resources. They're all available on the Early Math Project website at earlymathca.org. We have a festival handbook that's kind of a how-to. Thrift Books is a place to get used books at a fairly low cost. You have to be careful of the conditions sometimes. Your local libraries, of course, will loan you books for free. And there's also YouTube that you can look up books read aloud if you don't happen to have the book in your library. We are working on an early math app that will be searchable. That's coming soon. The National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, if you're a member, has some great resources for early math. And here are some more resources that you can check out. We will have these links on our page for this presentation. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you on the internet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.